And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video. And today I'm going to talk about the challenge owning an EV during a natural disaster. And that's because we've been living through it this last about a week now here in Southern California. And because so many of you have messaged me to ask if we're okay, yes, we're good. We're in Orange County, and knock on wood, the fire has not made it to Orange County. Now, over the last decade, it has made it to Orange County, and houses have burned down, and we happen to be right up against the mountain. And it's been a little tense, waiting for something to take place. We're praying, we're keeping our fingers crossed that it does not make it to Orange County, because I don't know that the resources would be here, because they are all deployed to LA. It is the single largest disaster, biggest disaster to ever hit Southern California, at least in my lifetime. And I've been through some earthquakes, but this is horrible, and it's horribly sad, because there is no way that anyone doesn't have someone they care about who is deeply affected by this. And in my company, we've got, I think, close to 30 people who've lost their homes, and hundreds of people who are completely been evacuated and have had their lives completely uprooted, now thrown into a position of not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing if their homes still exist. All right, so please send your thoughts and prayers to everyone who has been affected, currently being affected, or may end up affected as this disaster continues. It is just horrendous. It's heartbreaking. So, but again, thanks for all you who messaged us. But we're, knock on wood, unaffected at this point. Certainly hoping it doesn't find its way here. And I think we're good so far. They say there's going to be some more winds, but whew, crazy times. But now let's talk about the topic of this video. And I don't want anybody to think that this is opportunistic and I'm jumping in a situation that's tragic to point something out that is something selfish or something trying to promote my beliefs. I'm just sharing with you the facts that surround this. And it's something that's being illuminated right now. And I was having a drink with a buddy a couple days ago, talking about the devastation. And he says he lives in a town here in Orange County where, because of the proximity to lots of brush areas and high fire hazard areas, the electric company shut his electricity down for going on 3 days. And he was in a position saying, I have nothing. I have no electricity, and I'm just sitting in the dark until the concern passes when they can turn electricity on. And we both look at each other and go, wow, could you imagine having an electric car? So the guy leans over at the bar and says, I'm going through that too, and I have an EV. And I said, well, how's that working out? He says, not good. I got home with like no range left on my car, could not open my garage to get my car in the garage to even charge it, had to go around, pull the pin to get the car to be able to pull it in the garage, and then realized again, I can't charge this thing, and I have no charge left in this thing. I anticipated being able to plug it in for the night, and I was going to be great. Probably should have planned better, but did not expect that my electricity would be shut off out of concern for there being fires. There wasn't even any fires, so he was toast. And then another guy says, well, if you have the Ford Lightning, you can plug it into your house and you can run your entire house as though it's a generator, which is awesome. And yes, there is a benefit in that aspect of it. But when you're being evacuated and being told to leave the neighborhood and you have very little battery power left in your car, and then you go to the local charging station and you see what is being shared all over social media now, which is lines around these charging stations because you have to leave the area. So if you're in Palisades, for example, you likely can't get any charging stations to work. You've got to be out in a different part of LA, and that means everyone's going to those charging stations and everyone's waiting to charge their cars. While gas stations, for the most part, while some are down for sure, especially in high fire areas, there are so many more of those that the problem is not affecting those people. They're able to continue to keep moving. So I just thought I'd bring up the point that while everybody's defending these things, this is a situation where we get to see how they actually affect people during a natural disaster. And we saw a lot of this happen in the East Coast during all kinds of hurricanes and other issues taking place out there, flooding, etc., where the EVs were done and the gas cars were still able to keep going, keep moving, refuel, and keep doing the work, where the EVs were pretty useless. And if it came down to having to tow stuff or go long distance to get away from things, you were pretty much screwed if you couldn't park somewhere and get those things charged up. So yes, it's a problem, and it's a real problem, and it's something that I think we just have to acknowledge, that we're not in a place right now to where we could be 100% EV. And I think that without a massive increase in reliable charging stations, heck, I saw one recently in a parking lot I was driving through that had 4 charging stations. All 3 of them were vandalized and destroyed and were not operational. I went back a couple days later, they were still that way. So there was no urgent rush to go back and fix those things. So I think that it's something we need to be cognizant of, something that people are actually dealing with out there, that the EVs, I would not want to be in a situation where that's the car that I have that is down to 5, 10, or 15 miles in range when my electricity shut off, and then I'm told that I need to evacuate my house. That's a horrible, horrible, horrible episode, considering that I would have to make it to a charging station that, frankly, everyone else is trying to make it to. So with that, everybody, just wanted to point that out, throw it out there for some food for thought, that we still need our gas cars. And frankly, I wouldn't put my money on the EVs in a circumstance like this. It's just ridiculous. So with that, everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
And this is a field where they have to store EVs so they don't burst into flames and burn anything else down. And right now in Florida, officials are sounding the alarm, and they're asking the federal government for guidance. In Hurricane Ian's aftermath, electric vehicles bursting into flames spontaneously after being damaged in floodwaters. Car batteries catching fire, prompting an urgent new warning from the state. Is the theory that when salt water interacts with these EV batteries, they turn into something of a time bomb?
Well, we just can assume that that's contributing to it, because all these are storm-damaged vehicles that were flooded.
It's a real concern among firefighters, those fires proving very difficult to put out. So how much water would you put on a typical gas-powered car?
Sometimes we just take a tank of water on the engine, around 750 to 1,000 gallons.
How much on something
These,
like this?
we're doing 8,000 plus gallons of water, just constant flow, trying to cool them down and stop the batteries.
So like 10 to 12 times the amount of water is required to put a car out like this?
Easily.
An EV?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And they can reignite. Tim Baker towed this Tesla to his lot after firefighters put it out.
I went back in my office, got a drink, sat down on the couch, and one of my employees yelled, "Hey, there's a fire."
Baker had to push the car out into the street.
Another eventful day.